Sustainable Development staff. Nature and environment are our lifeline to create a more climate resilient and sustainable economy to uplift the conditions of the Filipino people. Let us invest on nature and environment to spur economic development. The DENR appeals for the approval of its budget proposal. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, may I request the Undersecretary Ted to present the additional numbers as requested by the committee. Thank you.
Sir, Madam Chair, if we may,
For that, um, this is a local but a national issue as well. Since you come from Antique, Secretary Lutilia, I'd like to know, I saw in the news the other day that Antique was recommended as a nuclear energy site. Just to put it on record, I am not in favor of that. And I think the provincial government will not be in favor. And many, or most, if not all, of our Kasimanwas will not be in favor. I was just wondering, was that during your time in DNR or DOE? Why is it among several areas or districts or provinces cited for a nuclear site? Of all places, why our province binaba tayo, may bundok tayo, may mga katutubo tayo? Why is that?
Yeah, Madam Chair, there's an interagency committee on the nuclear program, and chaired by DOE, but it has been conducting studies on siting. So these are sites that were those which were identified when we first built our nuclear power plant in Bataan. And then in addition, they've been looking at other areas as well. So I am not updated on the announcement that includes Antique. But what we have identified from the DNR standpoint, of course, is that if the government, and that's through Congress, does move ahead with the nuclear power, that that before such permits can be issued, then there has to be an ECC that has to be issued by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. And to be able to conduct the ECC in accordance with international standards, then we will have to build up the capacity within our Environmental Management Bureau to be able to respond to that challenge. Thank you.
Secretary, before the presentation, may I know which government agency studied our 81 provinces and included Antique in the less than 10 provinces where a nuclear power plant will be cited? Because I never heard of Antique being cited until a few days ago when I saw it in the news. It came as a shock. And just to put it on record, I am not in favor, and I am not alone. I will block it every step of the way. Whichever government agency is studying it, do not waste your time and your resources. And I will oppose your budget.
Thank you, Chair.
Kung sinong ahensya ang nagmungkahi. Thank you.
Madam Chair, there is the Nuclear Energy Program Interagency Committee that's chaired by the Department of Energy, but it has several members, and one of the leading members for identifying suitable sites is our FIVOX, so which is among the agencies that are involved there. So what we will do is we will find out more from the NEPIAC and the DOE on the details of this report and provide you with the details as well. Thank you.
So, Secretary, when you were in DOE, you were not familiar with our province being proposed as a nuclear site.
Not in detail, Madam Chair, because what they had was just a survey of all over the country of what are the suitable sites. So I have had no access to the specific studies that came up with the Antique as one of the possible sites.
May I request the DNR to submit to the committee the interagency study, and how do we get a commitment from the DNR that you will not approve an ECC for Antique for a nuclear site? I can speak for the people. They will not approve any nuclear facility in our province. You know that. Binabaha tayo. May katutubo. May yamang lupa, pero hindi dapat dun at hindi bagay. Hindi kailangan pag-isipan sa siyensya. Hindi papayag ang mga tao.
Well, we can assure you, Madam Chair, that we will make sure that the interagency nuclear energy program interagency committee will take into account all of the science involved. We don't know the details at this point, so I would not want to preempt. But in the past, there have been proposals, for example, for other energy-related facilities in the northern part of the province of Antique. But if I recall that at the end they decided not to place depots and so on because of at the time there were, I think,
It's a protected area.
Yeah.
That's a Northwest Panay
Yes.
Peninsula,
Yes.
an Inipas area.
Right.
We have biodiversity there. Yes.
Even before the declaration of a protected area there were what is this? At that time there were considerations regarding fault lines and so on. So I will have to revisit.
So I
those.
just wanted that clarification since we come from the same province. It was not during your watch in DOE and now in DNR that suddenly Antique is in the news being recommended as a nuclear facility site. Hindi po kayo ang nagmungkahi.
No,
And you are not in favor or will study the science, or are you holding your decision with holding? I just have to say that I am not in favor, and I was shocked, to say the least, when I saw Antique being named. And may I kindly appeal to the DNR not to study it further, to just take it out. Hindi po, it will not fly. Do not waste money for consultant studies, etc. Hindi po. Hindi papayag.
well noted,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And I would request the DNR, whatever it can get together, how the studies came about, because no one was consulted there. Yeah. Thank you. We proceed. I hope you don't mind my bringing that in open hearing so that it's on the record. Yes, because you came from DOE and you're now in DNR. These are the two agencies that are involved among the many for a possible nuclear facility, which I state once again, I am against it. I will fight it. I will oppose it. And the people will not be in favor, at least for Antique. The others, I'm willing to listen. My colleagues, some of them are pro-nuclear, and I keep an open mind. We see, depende kung saan, anong klase, but the way Filipinos, generally speaking, do things, we need to be more safety conscious and do more complete staff work. And we have so many hazards, risks, and vulnerabilities. Okay, so I think I made it very clear. We proceed now to the presentation of USEC. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So out of the 28 billion being requested for 2026, what you can see on the screen is the breakdown according to the major programs. The highest share is for the Enhanced National Greening Program of about 10 billion pesos or 37% of the total budget for major programs. Then we have the Enhanced Biodiversity Conservation, composed of the Protected Area
Teka
Development.
po. Itong 10.4 billion, bakit nakasuma total yan? These are all, what are these? Tapos
For
1.6, ito yung NGP. What's the 10.4? Why did you put it together under 10.4?
ito po yung total for all the major programs that
Major
were,
programs. Okay.
So
You mean outside of this, when you say major programs, outside of this, and anyone can answer, not just Anna, but SEC or any of the directors. When you say major programs, outside of 1, 2, 3, this, we don't have any other programs?
ma'am, there's a second slide which will show the other programs po.
Okay,
Yes,
sige.
ma'am.
Proceed.
Yeah.
So, you've 1.6 for the NGP.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, you may ask and interrupt me anytime and ask questions in your areas of interest, please. Okay, enhanced NGP. Yes,
Yes.
kindly explain kasi we can go one by one, but we'd like to be enlightened. As I said, this started during the time of SECPAHE. For those who are new in this room, and some of these kids, staff are new, what was the original intention of the National Greening Program? I recall a secretary, kasi ang dami nung dumaan nun, once said, it is not a reforestation program. Ang sinasabi nila nun, it is a livelihood program. Pakipaliwanag, kung hindi yan reforestation, pero nagtatanim tayo ng mga puno at ng mangroves, ano siya? So what was the original, ayan, Jonas, you were there long ago. What was the original program of the National Greening Program? Anong taon ba yan? Aquino administration pa yan eh. At magkano na, mula sa simula hanggang ngayon, magkano na ang NGP? At sa suma total ng NGP, ano ang mangroves, ano ang forests, at ano ang inyong hindi planted, ano ang tumubo? And because it is not considered a reforestation program, what is it? Livelihood. Correct me if I'm wrong, because in previous hearings, we would always be corrected when we think and when we say that it is a reforestation program. And if it is not, I was also told long ago that it is not the DNR that does the reforestation, but of course, private sector and people's organizations. Unless dito dinadaan ng pera na pambayad sa mga POs na nagre-reforest. So gusto kong maintindihan yan. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. For the details of the costings, I'll be referring this to the FMB. But for the objectives, just to clarify, Madam Chair, that NGP is also a reforestation. But aside from reforestation, this will address the other objectives. One is to address climate change impacts, providing livelihoods, and reforestation. So it means that unlike other reforestation in the past, that purely reforestation by administration, but in this case, it is now a multiple objectives, which includes reforestation. So
Here was this started?
it started in during the time of President Aquino, 2011.
Okay,
So
so,
at that time, Madam Chair, the
sabi sa amin nun, ilang years lang eh. 15 years na kayo.
during the time NGP, the original plan there, Madam Chair, is that we're aiming at planting 1.5 billion seedlings in 1.5 million hectares. But before the end of the Pinoy's administration, it was expanded through an EO. That is the reason why it was called Enhanced NGP, because at the time, there's still a lot of barren areas that needs to be regreened, Madam Chair.
2011. This is for the 2026, 15 years. I remember I was asking the same questions
Yeah.
in 2011. And you had the plan then. Could you kindly show us the plan then and the accomplishment report? And could you give us now, please, how much total funds have been given every year Suma total, including this ask for the 2026 budget.
Yeah. Madam Chair, for the figures of the costing since 2011 until 2024, I'll be
Total, allocated.
allocated
Yes.
every year. Maybe I'll be requesting.
Not every year, total already allocated. Thank you.
I refer to you, Sec. Anand.
Madam Chair, for 2011 to 2025, we have already allocated 1.8 billion pesos for,
From the
total
first
is-
year of the National Greening Program until the 1.6 billion net provision for 2026, so 15 years, ilan na po, magkano na po ang linagay sa National Greening Program at ano po ang katumbas na bundok na naitanim at mangroves na itanim at kung ano pang iba.
So, Madam Chair, for under NGP, we have from 2011 to 2016, we have allocated 32 billion pesos. Under enhanced NGP, from 2017 to 2025, we have allocated additional 28 billion pesos, so a total of 60 billion pesos, Madam Chair. This translated to 2.2 million hectares planted and about 1.8 million hectares, 1.8 million seedlings planted, Madam Chair.
When you say 2.2 million hectares planted, bundok po ito, kapatagan, mangroves. Kasama na ang marine dito? Or are these all bundok? And when you say 1.8 million seedlings, what kind of seedlings? Are they native tree seedlings? Are they mangrove seedlings?
Madam Chair, for the NGP, we devote much this amount to the forest areas, and we used seedlings both, if applicable, the indigenous species, but normally we plant some like for example mahogany, nara, amongst fast-growing species. So these are the plants. But as we progress with the NGP, especially in the enhanced greening program, we are now using now the indigenous species or native species. Madam
Sandali.
Chair.
Ito po'y bundok lahat. Forest lang. Hindi ba nyo kinoconsider ang mangrove na forest?
Meron.
Mangroves are considered forests of the sea.
Madam Chair, to be
Yes.
accurate,
I know that the NGP includes mangroves. Sigurado ako.
yes,
Kasi may taon na tinignan po natin, tapos natuklasan natin na tanim na mangrove, maski may mangrove, tapos si grassbed, tanim pa rin ng mangrove. Kaya yun ang gusto kong tanungin, kung ganun pa rin ba yung pagkakamali nun.
yes, Madam
So to say that the NGP only plants in mountain areas where there are forests, I think is inaccurate.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry for that. We base our plantation based on the commodity, Madam Chair. You're correct, Madam Chair, that we are under our NGP. We're also planting not only mangrove forest species, but also bamboo and other agroforestry crop, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, may I ask Assistant Director Kabingking?
Yes, I just want to know. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Yusek Leones. 32 plus 28, 60 billion. 2.2 million hectares. Sa 2.2 million hectares po, ano ang bundok na forest, ano ang marine? Yun lang gusto ko malaman. At kung meron pang iba, kung sa wetlands, ano ang ginagawa nyo doon? Sa 1.8 million na seedlings nyo, ito ba sa lahat na, sa bundok at sa marine? At ano ang growth rate? Nagtanim. Paano natin alam na tumubo? At ano ang inyong monitoring na science-based na tumubo? Drone? And how do we know? We keep on, 60 billion already. How do we know there are no ghost plantations or ghost seedlings or areas? I'm not charging anyone with ghosts. Ibig sabihin na naitanim, namatay lahat. Survival rate, yes. So we have to know that. Yes. And what is the proof? Because a report can be a report. Yeah. And mali nung secretary, kanino yung oversight na yan? The regional directors, the PENROS, the CENROS, the POs that you partner with? And please give us a list of the people's organizations who are accredited with the DNR in every region and in every province who are recipients of grants, partnerships, who do the planting for you. Because obviously, it's not the DNR plantilla personnel who do this. The funds just are allocated for you, but you have MOAs with people's organizations. And these people's organizations, who are they? We want to see them. We want to have a list from Cordillera to Barm, from Region 2 to Region to Caraga, to know all the people's organizations, to see them, that they exist, and we want to know the work that they've been doing for the past 15 years. Yeah, thank you.
Assistant Director Kabigting of the Forest Management Bureau.
Madam Chair, good morning po.
Recognize, may I see your name, please?
Um,
Attorney Ray
Thomas
Kabigting.
Kabigting. po.
Okay.
Madam
FMB,
Chair,
who's the head of FMB now?
Forest Management Bureau, ma'am.
Yes, sino po ang head ngayon?
There is no appointed director yet, so the assistant director is the one exercising.
Who was the previous head?
I has retired.
Assistant Secretary Arlie Adorable, ma'am. He retired last March 3,
Mm,
2025.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, to answer your question, so I'd just like to reiterate the correct amount from 2011 to 2025. We've already been allotted around 60 billion pesos, which covers 2.2 million hectares. And you are correct also, Madam Chair, that mangrove and beach forests are included in the National Greening Program. As of 2025, we already have a total of 14,800 hectares planted with mangroves and 77,900 hectares planted with mangrove and beach forest species. For the areas that are eligible, ma'am, for Madam Chair, for the National Greening Program, these are legally classified forest lands, which includes mountains and low-lying areas that are legally classified forest lands, but with special focus on denuded and degraded forest areas, ma'am.
Of the 2.2 million, only 14,000 are mangroves.
Yes, ma'am. 14,800, ma'am, and 77,900 hectares for beach forests, ma'am. So these are part of your coastal areas.
And all the rest
And
are
all the rest, ma'am, are within uplands,
forest.
legally classified forest lands po within the terrestrial zones po.
Ilan ba natitira natin na primary forest?
Our forest cover right now, ma'am, is 7.2 million hectares.
That's
That's 24%, ma'am, of the land
Oh.
cover.
yung talagang natitira, yung totoo. Yung natitirang primary forest, yung totoo. It's not 7.8, it's less than 1 million hectares. The remaining primary forest. Don't say what is old growth. Old growth primary forest. Okay, diba? 30 million hectares, diba? 30 million. Okay. Every year we do this. 30 million hectares. Of the 30 million hectares, iba yung designated na forest, ha? Iba yung totoong standing forest. Of the 30 million hectares, ilan po ang designated forest land?
The legally classified forest lands, ma'am, out of the 30 million is 15 million
15. Ayan
hectares.
na naman, para tayong panahon ni Pahay ganyan din. Okay,
Yes,
15 million. Sa 15 million po, ilan ang old growth primary forest remaining as of last survey, and what kind of science did you use for that survey? Dapat meron tayo.
As of 2020, ma'am, land cover, we were able to survey 2.2 million hectares of closed forests, which are your primary forests, ma'am. That's around 7.4%.
Okay. So, 2.2 million ang closed. When you
Closed forest.
say closed,
Clo-
these are old growth
Yes, ma'am.
or primary?
With a canopy cover of more than 40%.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am. This is also the data from our NAMRIA, ma'am.
from NAMRIA.
Yes, ma'am.
2.2 million of the 15 million which is legally forest but it's not. So
Yes.
2.2 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Ano po ang secondary forest?
Ang secondary po natin or yung tinatawag natin open forest, ma'am, is around 4.6 million hectares, ma'am, as of 2020.
Why is it that in previous years, DNR would give me another figure of primary forest? They would say less than 1 million remaining. Anyway, so I'll try to, I'll believe you. You're a forester. That's 2.2 million of closed canopy primary forest.
Yes, ma'am.
And this was in 2020.
2020, ma'am.
2020 figures. And then the secondary forest would be 4.6 million.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're only talking here of bundok. We're not talking about mangrove forest. No, we're talking about.
I do have the numbers for mangrove forest also, ma'am.
Let's do this first. 2.2 and 4.6. When you started the NGP in 2011, what was the primary or old growth forest and the secondary? And did you measure it then? And yeah, and your last monitoring was 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
So may we know, has it improved?
It has, ma'am.
Yes, of course you'll say that because otherwise.
No, but
Yeah,
in 2010,
yes.
ma'am. In 2010, ma'am, the closed forest was around 1.9 million hectares. In for the open forest, it's around 4.5 million hectares, and the mangrove forests were only about 310,000 hectares. In 2010. So in 2015, when NAMRIA did the land cover mapping again, we have now a closed forest of 2 million hectares, open forest of 4.6 million hectares, and 303,000 hectares for mangrove forests.
What percentage of our forest cover, you don't plant in old growth, right? You don't plant in old growth or in primary forest. You plant in secondary.
Yes, ma'am.
So our efforts in government cannot be attributed to the 2.2 million. You don't touch that.
It can still, ma'am, because forest protection is still there.
Protection.
For
But
forest
I'm
protection
talking
program.
about the national greening program.
The planting, ma'am.
The planting and the growing, is that part of the 4.6? Are you planting
They're in
and
the-
growing outside of the 4.6 million secondary growth? Do you actually plant elsewhere which are not on the 4.6?
No, ma'am. We tend to the target the main target is to actually close this open forest, ma'am, so that they can
So
have
you
a
want
more
to understand, all the 60 billion pesos, tanggalin mo yung mangroves, did they go to the secondary forests?
Yes, ma'am. They did.
And what kind of species did you plant in the secondary forest? Because I heard mahogany. Why will you plant mahogany
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
secondary forests?
So mahogany and other fast growing species, ma'am, were planted as primary species to actually repair and rehabilitate the soil so that it can also provide shade for the indigenous species, ma'am, will be planted as climax species or the final species that will be planted in your reforestation site. Kasi po pag po hindi tayo nag-provide, pag po hindi natin rehabilitate yung soil at hindi po tayo nag-provide ng shade for these indigenous species, they will not grow, ma'am. So those were the forest management techniques that we applied, ma'am.
So how are we able to monitor all these 60 billion? Saan po sa 4.6 million? This is not hectares. Yeah, hectares.
It's hectares.
Yes. Could you explain? Kasi we just see numbers eh. Where in the 4.6 million hectares under the Enhanced National Greening Program did you utilize the budgets all this year, and what kind of improvement in our forest cover ensued?
Yes, ma'am. For the mapping and the monitoring of the National Greening Programs, I will be happy to share, ma'am, the maps that we have with us right now. But for the increase in forest cover, as what the Secretary mentioned earlier, ma'am, actually, from 2015 to 2020, if I can start for 5 years prior, our closed forest increased by 9%. And our open forest, well, there was an increase in open forest by just 0.2%, ma'am. And our mangrove forest increased also by 2%. So meron naman po tayo nakikita increase, and for the specific areas where the NGP was planted on, ma'am, we do have the complete maps for that one. We'll be sending it to you, ma'am. And one final point, ma'am. We are doing a satellite land monitoring system right now, not only for Red Plus, but also to monitor these reforestation efforts that we have. So you will see there at the trend of land use and land cover change na sumusunod po sa base map natin from NAMRIA, and using the latest satellite imagery, ma'am, you will be able to see their trends from one point in time to another point in time para po makita niyo yung changes, ma'am.
Is it the Forest Management Bureau that's the lead for the NGP?
Yes. It is.
Have you been with this program since 2011?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been in charge since 2011.
No, ma'am. I was part of the Forest Management Bureau in 2013, and I assumed the post, ma'am, as assistant director last year.
But you're familiar with the NGP, and so you're not new in
No,
the
ma'am.
DNR.
I was an extension officer, ma'am, in 2013.
And everything you're telling us is monitored by the NAMRIA.
The land cover, yes, ma'am.
Yes. And you would be able to tell us, would you have, we will go to the others. You'll be able to show us on a slide the areas covered by the NGP since you're in charge. The areas, so that we understand, sa Sierra Madre, sa Cordillera, syempre, gusto namin makita saan ang mga tinanim, saan ang reforestation efforts ng DNR, and what is the growth or the survival rate?
For the maps, Madam Chair, I'd like to defer to NAMRIA. But for the survival rate, ma'am, the average survival rate from 2011 to 2024 is 77%, ma'am.
Mataas yun. How?
That's also the reason, ma'am, why this year we are just finalizing, ma'am, the third-party assessment for the National Greening Program, so that the survival rate and the data does not come from the Forest Management Bureau or the DNR.
But you should not be planting mahogany.
And ma'am,
Bakit sino man nagturo sa inyo ng mahogany? Bakit mahogany? Dapat Philippine species. Bakit ba ganun? Ang National Greening Program, mahogany ang tinatanim. Bakit ganun? Hindi naman ako forester, pero alam ko hindi dapat mahogany.
Madam Chair, as
Yung
mentioned,
forester nga sa UP Los Baños, hindi naman nagalit. Sa farm ko, bakit ako nang tayong mahogany? Kasi invasive yan sa pinaputol ko yung mga mahogany ko pero may permit. At nagtanim na ako kasi yun ang turo nyo sa amin mula pa noon dati 30 years ago Kaya nagkamali ako nagtanim ng mahogany Mali nga Bakit kayo mahogany ng mahogany?
yeah,
Hindi naman yan indigenous sa atin No, I want the forester to answer because there must be a reason. I want this young forester. I want him to teach me and convince me to plant mahogany.
I'll try my best, Madam Chair. So, during the first response, ma'am, I tried to explain that it is a silvicultural method, ma'am, or ito po ay paraan ng pagtatanim, ma'am. Kasi yung mga tinaniman po natin, ma'am, na lugar, denuded na ho at degraded. Yung lupa po niyan, kapag po tinaniman natin yan ng indigenous or endemic natin, ma'am, shade loving po kasi mga endemic natin, ma'am. So, hindi po yan tutubo kapag may direct sunlight. So, kaya po tayo nagtanim ng mahogany, ng gymnelina, or ng fast-growing natin, ma'am. It's number one, to try to rehabilitate and ameliorate the soil. I-repair po yung lupa. Number two, to provide shade for the seedlings that you will introduce as your climax species or your final reforestation species. And third also, ma'am, is to provide also livelihood to the communities, because these exotic species, as you put it, ma'am, these exotic species, they're not meant to be to be retained as a reforestation, especially if it's in a protection forest or in a forest that you want to keep as standing. Pang production species po kasi ito, mga timber species po kasi ito, ma'am.
So they cut after how many years?
Ang mahogany, ma'am, you can already harvest it after 7 to 8 years.
No, I know
ma'am.
because I harvested. But you're saying you planted mahogany as part of the 4.6 million hectares in the secondary growth forests.
Sira po kasi, ma'am, yung mga lupa. So, kailangan po munang i-rehabilitate, ma'am, yung mga lupa na tatamnan po natin ng final indigenous species. But for national parks, ma'am, and protected areas, we planted indigenous species naman, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely not. O sige, yun na muna.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't want to use all this time, but I think Jonas wanted to say something. Yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
to tell you the same thing with as mentioned by Director Kabigting. At ang isa pa naging problem dyan, Madam, during that time, we need to fast track all the reforestation and we had a problem in the provenance of the indigenous species kasi mahirap din po magpatubo ng nursery ng mga indigenous species. So for the meantime, we resort to these species to rehabilitate the area while we are establishing our provenance for the indigenous species. Ngayon, hindi na po ngayon. May mga ganun tayo. Thank you, ma'am.
So,
Secretary, is there a way to, we've talked about this many times, is there a way to monetize this NGP, the National Greening Program? Because we went to the same program in Singapore, and I remember Singapore wants to buy credits, no? Because they don't have, obviously they don't have land to plant, no? And we have, no? So the concept there is they will buy credits from countries who can plant trees, who can undergo greening programs, and they will swap it, no? So in other words, we can monetize all of these programs. So we have invested 60 billion. So, but not invested, but if we have spent 60 billion, but if we can monetize it, it's a form of investment that we can sell credits later on. No? Is that a possibility? Is the department looking at that?
Mr. Chairman, definitely this is one of the things that we have been looking at, and Assistant Director Kabigting can give us some more details on the current plans and negotiation.
Assistant Director, in a nutshell, give us a preview of this concept.
Thank you, Senator. What you're trying to point out is called the Red Plus program, or where the government can receive resource-based payment based on its avoidance of deforestation. Right now, sir, there is a set of requirements before the country can announce its Red Plus readiness. Or ibig pong sabihin yan, yung mga global financial institutions po and multi-development partners po can already come in and partner with us for these results-based payments. Right now, sir, the Philippines has completed three of its requirements. We're just awaiting for the satellite land monitoring system, like what I told the good senator earlier, Lauren Legarda, and also the safeguards information system. These two systems will be finished this year, sir. So by 2026, sir, we can already start planning out our Red Plus programs. This is more of a jurisdictional and government-led initiative on how to, as you put it, sir, monetize or give back our investments on these areas. But the other thing, sir, is that we can also encourage voluntary carbon market investments in these forest areas. It's just that we need to prove additionality, because these investors, when they come in, like what the Madam Chairperson mentioned earlier on the Singapore agreement, these investors, when they come in, they should prove that without their investments, the carbon sequestration from these forest areas wouldn't have happened. It's a tricky thing there, sir, and that's what we need to figure out as well, because these are government investments on the ground, and yet the carbon credits would have to be there would have to be a sharing mechanism between the investor and the government, and not only that, with also the communities and the local governments on the ground. So these are the complexities that we're trying to fix now, sir, as soon as possible, hopefully, because we want to maximize also the Philippines' potential to actually produce quality carbon credits because of our standing as one of the mega diverse hotspots and our forest cover improvements also, sir, throughout the years.
Huwag natin pahirapan. The carbon credit trade has been in existence for at least what? Since 98, I've been talking about this, but it was only enshrined Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. So ngayon lang namumulat ang tao kasi nasa Paris Agreement, pero ang tagal na yan. Now, other ASEAN countries have signed with Singapore. Vietnam, is it? And what's the other country?
Vietnam and
Thailand.
Madam Chair.
Tayo daw, sabi ni Minister Grace Fu ng Minister of Trade and Sustainability, ang unang inisip. But it's taking us so long. Not your fault. I also asked Tony about it. Nakapending daw sa inyo. And I was assured matatapos daw this year. Sayang naman. Very valid yung tanong ng chair. How do we monetize it? Not monetize by cutting trees, but monetize the investment that we have put in here, billions and billions in reforestation, in whether highlands or marine, and just approve the legal mechanism to be able to sell or trade the carbon sequestration that ensued because of our investment in that area. Now, I hear you say that kasi hinihingi nila, kung hindi dahil sa investment nila, ay hindi mangyari yun. O marami pa naman denuded areas. Marami pa naman areas kung saan pwedeng magtanim. Marami pa naman mangroves na putol nga ng putol dyan ng mga hindi na natin mamonitor sa dami ng... Yun, para may bantay. Para hindi na rin kayo humihingi ng bilyon-bilyon for NGP. In fact, foreign funding na yon in a way. So, ganun. So, di ba? Ganun. So, you tell us you are in favor of the carbon credit trade because it will spur the local, the domestic economy. It's like an investment. It's a country which is land constrained, that's very ambitious to reach net zero, but cannot because they don't have natural resources. And here we are with 30 million hectares and much, much more in our waters, but we're not even maximizing it, in a way monetizing it by selling the carbon credits, right? So ang inaantay lang natin yung mekanismo na, ayaw ko ano mang special ang Pilipinas na isip tayo ng isip, nahuhuli na tayo na naman. Kailan ba tayo pipirman yan? Chair tayo ng ASEAN next year. Tama, Forester.
Yes, ma'am.
Di ba? May masama ba sa carbon credit?
No, wala, ma'am.
May downside. Convince us.
No, ma'am. Actually, it's in terms of forest investments, ma'am, it's one of the best market system in place. Tama po kayo kasi ang forest investments, ang reforestation is capital intensive. Malaki po talaga yung kailangang gastusing pera dyan. Kaya po kapag nag-forest investments tayo, ma'am, matutulungan not only the government to allocate these resources to something else, but also to encourage market-based mechanisms in forest management. My point earlier, ma'am, on the RED Plus is that, and on carbon credits is that, these are things that are already in place and nahabol na po natin yung RED Plus natin, ma'am. We will be able to finish the systems that are required for us to actually engage in these activities that is on government level. And on the voluntary forest carbon side, ma'am, meron na po tayong mga partners ngayon na tumitingin ng feasibility on some of the areas in the country on how to establish forest carbon projects, ma'am.
Understand why RED Plus is not anong problema ng RED Plus? Problema ba siya sa pag-implement ng carbon credit rate?
No, ma'am.
Just for the record, RED Plus is reducing emissions from
From
deforestation and forest degradation plus. So
Yes,
red
ma'am.
plus.
Yes,
okay. This is the UN-backed framework that rewards developing countries for management of our forests.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
how would that's complementary, right?
Yes,
Oh.
they are, ma'am. They
so
are.
you said kasi sinabi mo ang problema kasi red plus. Paano magiging problema ang red plus sa carbon credit?
No, ma'am. Hindi siya problema, ma'am. What I was trying to say is that we can start already, and to answer the question of government of Senator Gatchalian earlier, ma'am, on how the government can monetize the national greening program, I'm leaning more towards on the red plus rather than the voluntary carbon markets, because on the voluntary carbon markets, ma'am, there is a specific set of standards for the investor to prove. Yun po yung sinasabi kanina natin. Pero sa Red Plus kasi, ma'am, government-led po talaga yung mga forest carbon initiatives dyan, at makakatanggap po tayo ng results-based payments based on our performance on how we manage and keep this forest standing.
May natanggap na ba tayo sa red plus?
Wala pa po, ma'am. Kasi po, yung systems po na requirement, ma'am, ng UNFCCC, ma'am, this year po natin natapos. So for matagal na po siya, ma'am, yan.
Alam niyo, 20
Unfortunately.
years na yata yung red plus, 30 years. Bakit gano'n?
10
Ha? 10 pa lang
10
ba?
years, ma'am. Opo.
Ang
Yeah.
palaging, ang eksperto, isa sa mga eksperto sa red plus, iba si Tony Lavinia.
Opo.
Yan.
Yes.
We've been talking about this for so long. Ngayon lang natin natapos.
Opo. So
Kung
ngayon,
naman ang Pilipinas.
ngayon po meron na po tayo, Madam Chair, na forest reference level natin. Meron na po tayong National Forest Monitoring System. Meron na rin po tayong National Action Plan for Red Plus. Ang inaantay na lang po talaga natin is the Satellite Land Monitoring System, pero patapos na po kami dyan, ma'am.
Because of this, we can already access
Yes.
funding through the UNFCCC, the Green Climate Fund,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
UNCCC
Yes,
sa
ma'am.
Red Plus.
Yes,
Pero walang masama na iba-iba.
Pwede,
ang sources,
yes,
right?
diversification din po, ma'am.
Oo.
Pwede rin po yun.
Singapore na, nag-aantay sa atin. Okay. When will we sign? When will we sign with Singapore? Nasa inyo, nasa DNR daw eh. Umaangal, no? Put on record.
Senator.
They were complaining about us, we're so slow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Madam
I'll tell you
Chair,
the truth.
Madam
Even the
Chair,
Deputy Prime Minister said it, we're so slow.
Madam Chair, the last year, the President of Singapore came, and that's when they signed an MOU with between the two ministries of environment on the Article 6 implementation agreement. But they did not come back to DNR with a draft until July of July of this year. So it's July of this year. Yeah. So in any case, the target is to finish the negotiations by November. Is it November? By this year, and the signing is targeted during the chairmanship of the Philippines in ASEAN, which is early next year. Yes.
Lang when the summit
Of the implementation agreement.
implementation agreement. Well, just note that the other ASEAN countries had signed already. Yeah. Okay.
Secretary or Assistant Director, do you have estimated revenues that the country can make out of this concept? One right now, kasi all of these activities are expense to us, no? So if we can turn it around and make it revenue for us, then mas magaan in terms of budgeting. No? Ang hirap, to be honest, ang hirap mag-budget dito sa dami ng requirement. So that's why part of our strategy is to generate revenue through our various activities. So have you estimated how much potentially can we generate from this activity? Anyone, Secretary or...
Sir? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Senator. Top of mind right now, sir, we don't I don't have any revenue projection, but because the market is fluctuating, especially in carbon credits. But we will get back to We'll try our best to develop a revenue projection for forest carbon projects at least.
Give us a feasibility study on
Yes, we
you know,
will.
complete with projected revenues, the cost to the government, how much can we earn, how much can we defray the cost or the expense of the National Greening Program. In fact, I saw a documentary. In fact, in advanced countries, you can sell certificates of forest, certificates of people can buy certificates,
Yes.
and the certificates is equivalent of planting trees in
Yes.
certain areas. So it's another way of monetizing again. No? So there's so many financial instruments now to defray the cost. Ang objective natin is to defray the cost. Eh. So we have to look at all of these programs. Kung hindi, ang bigat kasi sa budget itong, maganda siya but mabigat sa budget. So just submit to us potential concepts, feasibility studies, and let's implement it na. Sama nga si chairperson na matagal na ito. This is nothing new eh. No? So, and when can we see the first revenue coming in for government?
If the I apologize,
No.
Mr. Secretary.
Oh.
If the partners that we have now on the ground, sir, are able to finalize their scoping in the areas, and if we're able to, like what Madam Chairperson said earlier, if we're able to put in the legal framework and mechanisms, say this year, the first crediting will be 5 years from the start of the project. So yun po yung trend pagdating sa carbon crediting. It's first 5 years and 5 years.
Yes. Mr. Chair, we must compel the DENR to finish the negotiations with Singapore because this will be the template for the other possible carbon credit trade. It's the low-lying fruit. And Bhutan, Chile, Ghana, Papua New Guinea, Peru, Paraguay, Rwanda, Thailand, Mongolia signed. Ano ba ang ating palaisipan na ayaw natin pumirma? Sino ang focal? Ana, are you the focal? Yes. Are there any challenges that's unconstitutional why we don't want to do it? They've been calling me, even the Minister of Foreign Affairs, si Minister Vivian, Minister Grace Fu. She talked me to lunch. We've been talking. I can call them. They've been telling me, and they said, in a very diplomatic way, to be honest, you were the first country we thought of. But then they smiled. Philippines is quite slow. What do I say? I'm so embarrassed. I said, I'll make sure before our chairship, I will ask the DNR, can you give us a deadline? Give us a deadline when you will finish. And can we not sign only when the summit happens? Let's sign way before. It's for our own benefit. Yes.
We're
You
targeting
second.
to finish the implementation agreement by November or December. We have started the negotiation. We're just finalizing the list of eligible projects. Once we have finalized that list, because one item there is the inclusion of the early retirement of coal, whether or not it will be included among the
Retirement
of coal, Madam Chair, of coal-fired power plants.
just transition. Yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as we finish the Annex B, some of the provisions of the implementation agreement will be a lot easier to negotiate already, Madam Chair. So we hope to finish that within the year. Madam
Within the
Chair.
year.
Yes.
Totoo ha, when you
Yes,
pass your...
yes.
Kasi when we see them during ASEAN, they'll say, oh, you did not sign. Oh, it will be so embarrassing.
Now, Madam Chair, just on because in the coal-fired power plant transition, we are the only one who's really ahead of the others. So that forms part of the agreement. So this is where the ASEN proposal comes in. So that's
Part of the proposal would be to scale down the number of decades or years of coal, and that would be part of the credits, right? They can actually evaluate kung 50 years yung coal, gagawin 20 na lang, mapepresyohan yung 30 na hindi ginamit sa coal. Tama? Yeah. So why did Yusek Fragada sign, but I'll talk to you later, the extension of coal mining in our province? And you signed it, the ECC, on the day that the secretary was appointed. But I'll talk to you later. I have a letter to the secretary here. Why did you extend coal? This is not coal power plant. May coal power plants, but coal mining, the expansion. We're talking about deceleration, and we're talking about closing, and then the ENR signed the expansion. That was before your watch, and Tony didn't know about it. In between. Yes. Oh, why are you moving your eyes around like that? You signed it. The expansion of coal. Before on the day the secretary's appointment was announced, when Tony resigned or her resignation, why did you sign? I think you should review that. Because it's unfair to the secretary, kakapasok lang niya. Tapos meron newly signed coal agreement. Expansion ha, not even renewal ha. Hindi nyo maalala po? Yeah. Kaluya, Antique, expansion of coal mines. I have a letter for the secretary. We talked about it. Ito eh. Oh, May 23. Nag-resign na si Tony niyan. Kailan po kayo na-appoint?
June 16.
But the resignation of Tony was accepted already on this day.
It wasn't accepted yet at that time.
No, he was OIC already.
Yeah. No. I think the resignation of Secretary Loizaga was effective upon my assumption into office, Madam Chair. So most probably he was acting as officer in charge while Secretary Loizaga was still secretary.
This was signed May 23. The Secretary Loizaga's resignation was confirmed and accepted. And a day after the resignation was confirmed, despite the public announcement of the successor as OIC, the DNR approved and amended expansion of coal mining.
Madam Chair, maybe
Kaluya.
perhaps the announcement was made by Executive Secretary Bersamin about the transitions that were going to take place, but as clarified with him, I was going to take over at a later period,
Yes.
and Secretary Loizaga remained as secretary until the time that I assumed.
But he was OIC, and I'd just like to read the Civil Service Commission's Omnibus Rules on Appointments. It provides that OICs may only exercise powers limited to administrative functions and the continuation of routine activities. They are not authorized to exercise discretion. So the expansion of a coal mine in a vulnerable area where coal is already, in your own words, being transitioned, being closed, and we are opening more coal mines. So I ask for a review of this. Nothing personal to those who own it, but here it's clear the issuance of an OCC, an ECC, especially an amendment of this magnitude, is a discretionary and policy altering act, as it involves environmental risk assessment, interagency coordination, and public interest considerations. So, under the DNR's EMB's Citizen Charter, ECCs are approved supposedly with authority from the DNR Secretary, but because you were the OIC then, you acted on your own. So, the USEC cannot approve and sign an ECC without an express delegation of authority from the Secretary. Supposedly, I put that on record because I am, again, against it. I don't think an OIC should expand coal mining especially you were coming in, it is unfair to you. And I would request you to please review it.
Will
But
do.
we will have a separate hearing on that. And I'd like to understand it better because we talk about transitioning. And then here we are mining more for coal in a province which is very vulnerable. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will certainly look into it in response.
Just so
to
that, Yusek Fragada, inutusan ba kayo ni Secretary Loizaga na pumirma sa expanded coal mining?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, good morning. Madam Chair, just to clarify, I wasn't designated officer in charge because her resignation was accepted already. I was officer in charge because she was on official business during that time. So I just went through my normal routine as OIC that we try to fast track the documents that are in the office of the secretary, and everything I signed is with clearance, Madam. So I wasn't designated OIC because her resignation was accepted. I was OIC till the 23rd, ma'am, of May, only because she was on official business abroad. So I acted as officer in charge of the DNR during that time. But right after that, ma'am, when the resignation was accepted, she assumed again as secretary. So I just stayed on as OIC till she came back.
So, therefore, it's clear that you were not authorized to sign the ECC. Then, it should not be, ikaw ang nakapirma eh.
Ma'am, may clearance po from the
Oh, ikaw nakapirma eh. Then I talked to her. She does not know about it eh. So then you
Okay.
have to review it and revoke it if you say you were not, it's just strange. May 23, tas May 23 rin pinirmihan. So dapat routine lang, admin, hindi pag-expand ng ECC ng coal. Mali.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We'll take a look at it, ma'am.
Yes, no, I have this letter, this long pending letter. No.
Yes, Madam Chair.
I hope they've not expanded because you just gave the ECC. Eh. So many. Okay, I will withhold my questions there. I have a letter, but we will have another hearing on that, please. I want to be enlightened. But I bring it back to the issue of selling carbon credits. We're still in the first budget, which is the National Greening Program. Yes.
To us, Assistant Director, feasibility study, gamitin natin yung potential natin. Sayang, if we can generate revenue out of that program, pinakamaganda yun.
Sige po. Yes, Your Honor, we will do. We will submit it as once we have it.
And action kaagad para
Yes.
para mayroon na tayong revenue papasok.
Sige po.
Thank you.
Ano yung pangako niya, Chair?
We'll submit a feasibility po of the potential for
Projections.
forest carbon projects
Yes.
in the Philippines, ma'am.
Okay. Paano nila,
Madam Chair.
sige, projections nyo kung magkano ang
Kikitain
income,
po natin.
kikitain. Okay, pero kailangan pirmahan na may commitment naman sila hanggang Desyembre natapos na yung negotiations. Pero syempre, pag negotiations, kailangan nandiyan na yung inyong projections kung magkano ang kikitain. Pero depende yan sa mga areas na isasama nyo sa inyong negotiations at pati na rin sa transition from coal. Tama?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Sige. Thank you. Please proceed. So, itong National Greening Program, ano yung LBRMO? What's a
Madam
special
Chair?
provision? Secretary.
Yeah, Madam Chair, you just, I think, Namria, you were asking how they,
To monitor. Paano
the
natin alam
the
na
forest
77 or 87% maganda pakinggan? Paano natin alam kung linoloko na tayo doon? Kung tinamnim pero hindi tumubo?
Yeah.
Malay natin. Yeah.
So, Senator, on that, we will submit to your committee the monitoring maps of the Forest Management Bureau. But on the total forest cover, Namria will explain their methodology for measuring this.
Gusto lang namin accurate po yung ating forest cover na yung sinabi nyong 15 million, 2.2 million Tama ba? Ang primary or old growth, 4.6 million. Pero bibigyan nyo sa amin, FMB, kung saan yung 2.2 at kung saan yung 4.6. At kung sinasabi nyo na ang NGP ay nasa 4.6. Pero kung ito'y secondary at bakit tayo dun nagtatanim para sa livelihood na puputulin? So hindi yan for protection. Ang protection forest ba, yung 2.2 lang at 4.6 hindi nyo kinoconsider na protection forest? Livelihood ba yan? Para maintindihan ko, FMB.
We've mapped, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Madam Chair, we've mapped out our protection forests and our production forests already.
So
And
the 2.2 protect.
the 2.2 of the open forest map, the 2.2 in the closed forest, ma'am, are all protection forests. Yeah.
4.6
The 4.6, ma'am, is a mix of within protection forest lands and production
ideal.
forest.
What's ideal for forest cover for the Philippines?
The benchmark is 30%, ma'am,
30% of the 30 million,
of the 30.
which is 90.
Yeah,
90.
we are at 24% now, ma'am.
So again, of the 30%, not of the total land area. 30% of the designated forest land.
Yes.
Kindly, what 30% of what? 30% of the 15 million hectares, or of the total land area, or 30% of the legally designated 15 million hectares.
It's Mr. Chair, it's the 30% of the forest areas, ma'am.
Are you sure? Is it 30% of 30
No, ma'am.
million hectares or 30% of the 15 million, which is the legally designated forest area?
Stand corrected, ma'am. It's 30% of the total land area, ma'am.
Kung 30 million, so
10 million hectares, ma'am. Yeah. We're at 7 now, ma'am. 7 million hectares.
protection eh. And the 4.6 is
Ma'am, Madam Chair, if I may, the 30% forest cover is the total land area of the country that is covered with standing forests. So, but we would have to disaggregate if you want that granularity. We would have to disaggregate how much of that 30% should be designated for protection forest and how much should be designated for production forest. At present, we've identified around 1 million hectares of potential investment areas within the production forest. So, kung ganun po yung gusto ninyo, Madam Chair, na narrative on the 30% benchmark forest cover, we can do that, ma'am.
okay. So we want to know the 15 million, which is really imagination na yan. It will never happen in our lifetime, okay? And we want to see the 2.2 million old growth, closed canopy, sana, saan yun? Sierra Madre, diba? Sierra Madre. Oh, and watershed areas, yeah. And then the 4.6 aside from the 2.2, saan ito? And identify the 4.6, ano dyan yung protection, ano yung production.
Yeah.
At sa production, ano dyan ang pinasukan ng NGP?
Okay,
At
ma'am.
ano ang NGP na partners ninyo na people's organizations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair,
that's what we
we'll
want to
submit those.
Yes. I think
yes.
that's also for the enlightenment of the chair, of us.
Yes,
Okay. We proceed now. Thank you.
Thank you,
With
ma'am.
Namria, paano po nyo sinusukat, minomonitor kung ano ba talaga ang pagtanim, ang pag-grow? How do we know that? What's the science behind it?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Your Honor, Secretary. All of these maps were generated based on satellite imageries. Prior to 2015, we used Landsat and spot imageries with a resolution of 10 meters, but with ground validation. But with this latest, which we have, which is 2020, we use Sentinel Asia, Sentinel imageries with the same resolution, but with a much intensive ground validation. So All of these are overlaid on a base map, which are actually the topographic maps. So using geographic information system, we will be able to classify and identify all the land classifications systems which you are mentioning. Lahat po ito ay geo-referenced. So we can do that. It's a simple GIS application, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
It's the most forested area in the country now.
For the forest cover, ma'am,
Yeah, we have here a detailed breakdown of the forest cover which we have. Ang pinakamalaki po is Region 3 with 41% forest cover.
Po sa region.
I stand corrected. It's actually Cordillera Administrative Region with 47%, followed by Region 2 with 41%. So, if you want, Madam Chair, we can submit this data to you.
Anong pinaka-denuded na probinsya or region?
Region 7, ma'am, with 6% forest cover.
6.
6.
Kaya walang tubig sa Cebu.
Meron bang time series yung I'm just meron bang time series, let's say when we started in 2011 ganito itsura, 2012 may mga ganyan ba yan?
Your Honor, we do the updating every 5 years. That's why we were mentioning 2010, 2015, and the latest which we have is actually 2020. But now we are about to come up with the
Bakit ang tagal ng
2025.
interval? Sa Google parang every year meron ah.
Based on our available resources and manpower included.
But you buy those maps, diba? You don't do you shoot them yourself?
We just buy the data source.
Correct. You just buy it. So how come we cannot buy it on much shorter intervals?
Mr. Chairman, I think
Yeah.
the ground validation part is the one that
Takes time.
takes time.
Oo.
Yeah.
But even the ground validation, 5 years?
Yun po ang nangyayari based on the available resources which we have.
When you
But-
say ground validation,
Our personnel go to the field and with a sampling intensity of 10%, say 10%, binavalidate po natin yung classification na ginawa natin based on the satellite imageries.
because from if you look at the budget in if you're talking about 2020, the budget at that time for the National Greening Program is 3 billion. 2025 is 1.4. So malaki na yung disparity. No? So is there a way to shorten it?
As far as Namiri is concerned, with regards to this specific task, the budget allocated to us for this purpose is just 7.711 million pesos. It's different from the budget of the
So
National Greening
it's
Program.
a different
It's a
different program.
separate
A different budget. And the what I understand from the secretary, the time-consuming part is the ground validation. This is the physical
Yeah.
validation.
Yes, Your Honor.
But in terms of just pure mapping, meron ba ganun every year? For example, we see increase in terms of forest cover
Your
we
Honor,
have
we do
that.
it on a 5-year.
without ground validation. Without ground validation, just on purely map.
We do it on a 5-year cycle, as I have said, Your Honor,
Including
based on the available resources, and we use the satellite imageries as data source.
so you buy the maps every 5 years.
Yeah. Actually, Your Honor, nung before 2020, yung Landsat imageries na-obtain natin for free.
3 years.
For free.
For free.
Libre
Okay.
po yun.
Okay.
But the problem is because with the very limited budget, which is just 7 million pesos, so naubos yun sa ground validation pa lang, wherein our personnel have to go to the field para mag-conduct ng sampling.
Correct. But so there are two activities, the purchase of maps and the ground validation. And the purchase of maps takes every 5 years yan. In
Ah.
purchase of maps.
Your Honor, we don't purchase the maps. We purchase the imageries from where we
I'm
generate.
sorry, you purchase the imagery.
Yeah, from where we generate the maps.
Okay. And we buy it every 5 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, but you can buy it obviously shorter. If we want
Yes.
to buy it every year, we can buy it.
Yes, Your Honor, given the...
Magkano ba yun yung isang, magkano ba ganun? How much is, for this purpose, if you buy the map every year, how much is an annual expense of map?
For the imageries, Your Honor, as I have said, we can acquire them for free. Ang main nagastos lang natin dun sa ground validation,
Ground validation.
field work.
How long does it take to ground validate?
Depende sa available resources, Your Honor. If we want, we can do it yearly.
Kaya naman.
Kaya.
Depende, it's the budget that,
Yeah.
that ano. Okay, all right.
Financial
Well,
resources.
I
to.
think ang opinion ko medyo mahaba yung 5 years for purposes of validation because what we want is we're allocating additional 1.8 next year. 1.6, no? 1.6 next year. So, ang iniisip ko, before we allocate, we have to make sure that it's yung mga tinatanim natin lumalaki talaga, no? And there's an assurance to us that the cover is really increasing, no? What's the target eventually? 30 million hectares, tama ba?
30%.
30%. And
Yes, sir.
what's the 30%?
10 million.
10 million. And how much have we planted already?
We are at planted already.
Oh, how much have we covered?
The existing forest cover right now, the Philippines, sir, is at 7 million.
So 3 na lang yung natitira. Okay. And then, so that's what we want to see, whether the 70% or the 7 million is actually there, no? Through the mapping. Later on na lang, just will request from the committee, or can you just submit to us your latest data showing that we have covered 70%, no? Okay, because we allocate ang laki ng amount, some 1.6, 1.8. We have to make sure na yung 70% andun, yung 7 million nandun talaga. No? That's the
60
objective.
billion na to.
Yeah, at 60 billion. At 60 billion. Yeah.
Thank you. So we go back to the first line, which is the Enhanced National Greening Program. The budget you're asking is 1.655 billion. The target set for DNR by DNR would include, as you mentioned, rehabilitation of denuded forest lands, correct? Do you have a page where it focuses only on NGP? So that what I'm saying is, or talagang major programs lang yan? Okay, let me just state if you don't have that page. So rehabilitation of forest lands, correct me if I'm wrong, 17,436 hectares. Production of ilang seedlings? 8.8?
8 million, ma'am.
8
8.8 million.
seedlings, 8.8 million seedlings. And the maintenance and protection of 55,871 hectares of existing plantations. In the breakdown of funding for the enhanced NGP for 2026, there's an 1, 2nd, 3rd. Ano to? 1st, 2nd, 3rd year of implementation.
Yes.
So is this a multi-year program? Will the 1.6 billion cover 3 years of implementation or only 2026? So how will you release the funding? Is it in tranches? Please explain to us. Is it a multi-year program? Kasi
Yeah, it
the
is.
first, second, 3 years. And then how will you release the funding? Because the budget is a 2-year cycle.
Since the NGP
Yes.
is maintained for 3-year support,
3
Madam
years.
Chair.
Yes.
So for the first year, therefore, that's now for those that are already in their second year, then there is also a separate allocation, and then for the third year,
You release the funds. Yung
yearly.
By
correct. Mag-expire ang pondo ng 2026 sa December ng 27. How will you use it for the third year?
Madam Chair, then for the third year, it will be, in other words, the funding for the first year support will be released this year. For the second year, also released this year. And then for the third year, also released this year. So a 3-year cycle. If one thinks of it as
The funding will not be
all
released on
current.
the third year.
all current.
Current.
Yes. Thank you.
Years, but it's not on the third year ang release ng funds because your funds will expire. Yeah, how is it?
Madam Chair, parang ganito po yun. Yung na-establish natin ng 2024, yun po yung first year. Bibigyan po natin ng maintenance and protection. Yung na-establish po natin ng plantation ng 2023, which is a second year na siya, bibigyan pa rin po natin. And then yung 2022, bibigyan pa rin po na. So third year yung nagawa na establish natin.
When you say binibigyan nyo, sino ang binibigyan nyo? Yung people's organization na nagtanim?
Yes, yung contract
Do you
po.
give them money or do you give them seedlings? Or do you give them tools? What do you give them? Puhunan? Anong binibigay nyo? O sweldo? What is it?
Madam Chair, it's cash po. But because they produce their own seedlings that will be used. Ito po yung seedling production na nakikita nyo dyan, ma'am. Yung plantation establishment mo, sila din po magtatanim, magpe-prepare din ng area for planting. Sila din po ang maintenance and protection, ma'am. Weeding, watering and maintenance of the seedlings until they grow to a certain age, ma'am. The thing why it's 3 years, ma'am, it's because the government accounting manual provides that for reforestation programs of the government, ma'am, the investment period is only for 3 years. We would want it sana ma'am 5 years, pero the limitation is 3 years lang po.
In your target for maintenance, it says existing plantations is 55,871 hectares. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, Madam Chair.
it gives the impression that the target rehabilitation of denuded forest lands covering the first to the third years have been completed. 55,000.
Madam Chair, if I may.
5,000, is that correct? That means you would have completed it by the time?
Madam Chair, ito pong 55,000 na tinarget namin for this year na maintenance and protection, these are the areas that are supposed to be protected for the first year, the second year, yung in-explain po ni Yusek Jonas kanina. The other areas, ma'am, na tapos na po the 3 years, we're not funding it under the NGP anymore. We're doing protection under the Forest Protection Program, ma'am. Because only 3 years lang po yung available for the NGP, ma'am.
Another forest protection program where there's another
Kapag
funding.
po nag-lapse na yung 3 years, ma'am, ng plantation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yung inyong unit cost for the second year of the project is higher by 101%. From 4,308 per hectare in the first year to 8,674 per hectare. Can you kindly explain that? In the second year, bakit may increase, a huge increase per hectare cost?
For the second year, ma'am, because the second year maintenance and protection, ma'am, we might need to do replanting. We might need to address some of the survival issues from the first year because, ma'am, textbook wise, there is an expected 20% mortality dun sa plantation and establish mo. And then you need to, by the end of the third year, ma'am, you need to achieve 85% survival rate. So yung first year, second year mo, ma'am, Madam Chair, you would need to do replacement planting there. So that's seedling production again, and then going back and then planting those alongside with your already surviving seedlings that you've planted during your site preparation as a plantation establishment, ma'am.
So these are all cash money being given to the POs.
To the people's organizations, ma'am. Yeah.
That's why it's important that you please provide us with all the recipients of the NGP since the beginning,
We'll
so
do
that
so.
we're able to see the 60 billion. What people's organizations are they
Yes, ma'am.
in province? Especially Senator Gatchalian goes around all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, visits. We'd like to see them. We'd like to assess the work. Has there been any technical performance audit? Not COA, it's just numbers. Pag COA, sino ang third party assessment ng ginagawa?
Yes, Madam Chair.
How do we know there's no ghost POs
Yeah.
or ghost trees or ghost mountains or ghost mangroves, right?
We'll have it ready for you, Madam Chair. We have all those things, and just to add, Madam Chair, if I may, and Mr. Secretary, most of the POs that we've partnered with the National Green Program are also our community-based forest management agreement partners. POs po sa CBFMA program natin. But nevertheless, we'll submit to the committee, Madam Chair, the list of all the people's organizations and the third-party assessment that
Then
we need.
maybe the outstanding POs, we'd like to meet them.
Yes, Madam Chair.
The outstanding partners.
We
right?
have those.
We'd like to meet them. Maybe one outstanding per region para makita natin. Dapat yun ang pinapakita nyo eh. Oo.
Yes, Madam Chair. We have those, and we'll be ready to submit.
Because these are the possible applicants for carbon credit trade, yung ginagawa nila. We see. You've pegged the target plantation area at 17,436 hectares. Is that correct? 17,000 hectares?
It is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay. And you're targeting to produce 8,884,604 seedlings to plant.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
So your targets seem to suggest that DNR will be planting 510 seedlings per hectare.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Tama ba yon?
Yes, Madam Chair.
So, ano ang spacing nyo? How is it done?
3 by
Explain
3.
to us, please.
3 by 3.
Because,
Madam, on the spacing it varies. But on the average, ma'am, it's around 3 by 3 po. Guys,
okay, 3 by 3.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 by 3, 3 meters between lines and 3 meters between plants within a line, area per tree, 3 meters times 3 meters is 9 square meters per tree. If you have this land area and each seedling requires 9 square meters, you will need 19,373,333 seedlings. Why are you targeting to plant only 8.8 million trees if you are preparing 17,436? So there's something wrong with the numbers because ikaw na nagsabi 3 by 3. Oh, bakit ganun?
Madam
Bakit
Chair.
the 19.3 million tree seedlings? Bakit ano lang? 8.8.
Yes, Madam Chair. If I may address that, ma'am. The seedling production, 8.8 million seedlings for this year is not the sole seedlings that will be planted in the 17,000. Meron na po tayo mga seedlings, ma'am, na na-produce sa ating mga DNR nurseries, ma'am, even from the past years. Like what Yusek Jonas Leones mentioned earlier, ma'am, we've established seed production areas and to collect the indigenous species, ma'am. So meron naman na po tayong stock ngayon, ma'am. This is only to add to what we have, ma'am. Actually
Including
meet.
your report, please, the seed production areas.
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Are the seed production areas different from nurseries?
The seed production areas, ma'am, are different from the nurseries because the seed production areas are where you get the actual seeds of the plant, and then you nurse them and you grow them in the
Sure.
DNR nurseries.
So,
ma'am.
iba pa yung seed production areas. These are nearer the forest.
Opo.
And then the nurseries.
Opo. Yeah.
Okay. this is only for highlands or upland, or would you include also mangroves? We're talking about now forests.
For mangroves, ma'am, do we have seed production areas, propagate production areas for mangroves?
Beginning.
Madam Chair, if I may refer the mangroves to the Biodiversity Management Bureau.
To them later.
Okay, ma'am.
So let's finish this. So please give us the seed production areas and the nurseries.
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Yes.
Even the locations, ma'am.
Mhm. I know that there was can we ask LB Remo to read, or perhaps you can read, the special provision in the past years. I hope that the succeeding chairs had included it in the GAA, that the NGP will be earmarked for protected areas. There's a special provision, di ba? Meron. Oo. So nandun pa rin. I placed this when I was chair pre-pandemic, and I'm not sure if it's been adopted, but if the chair would agree so that we are able to protect the protected areas more with limited greening, we should focus it on already legislated protected areas and or state universities and colleges which have land grants, which have forests, and they do not have the resources or the facilities or perhaps a know-how unless they offer a forestry, pwedeng doon sila mag-partnership with para naka-earmark. Unless tong 1.6 nyo, kasi hindi to dapat lamsam naka-breakdown na ba ito?
Naka-breakdown
Yeah.
na po yan, Madam Chair.
So if it's broken down, why is it concentrated in the OSEC? Why not already in the regions?
Ma'am,
It's an OSEC pero
yes,
naka
Ma'am,
line
OSEC,
item.
when we say OSEC per DBM category po, it includes bureaus, the staff bureaus,
Yeah.
and the regional offices.
So naka-breakdown siya kasi hindi ko na
Opo.
nakikita rito, OSEC lang nakalagay, naka-breakdown na yan.
Yes,
Yung
ma'am, naka-breakdown
1.6B, hindi yan lump sum sa OSEC, yan ay naka-breakdown na. I will read the breakdown, and with the permission of the Chairman of Finance, we will reinstate the NGP to be, nandito na pala eh. Is this previous GAA? They adopted already what I did before. Okay, it's already here. That there should be close coordination with the SUCs in the establishment of nurseries, including clonal nurseries, but also in the planting in the land grants. I'll expand that in forest areas and mangrove areas where applicable.
Yes, Madam
Oo.
Chair. We've sent you a list actually, ma'am, of the potential areas within SUCs for NGP implementation.
Of the 114, including UP and all the campuses, ano dyan ang may bundok na may forest, ano dyan ang may mangroves, dapat doon ang inyo. At saka aside from the legislated protected areas.
Yes, Madam Chair.
That means you'll have to change a little your list kung saan nyo ginaganap yung inyong NGP.
That's
So
totally
you have
fine,
to do
Madam
that
Chair.
kasi oo kayo ng oo minsan pag hearing, tapos ang implementation within the year, gawa na kayo ng gusto nyo. Pero ang aming mungkahi ay sana sa protected areas nyo i-focus
Yes.
at saka sa SUCs na may land grants.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Para tutulong din sila sa inyo sa pag-monitor.
Yes, Madam Chair. We will do that.
Yes. Down of the 1.6 kung anong region, anong probinsya. Kasi hindi ko makita rito eh. Anong region, anong probinsya, at ano doon ang mangrove, ano ang forest sa bundok. Oo. Kasi wala eh, hindi nakalagay eh. Nakalagay lang sa akin OSEC. Anyway,
we'll
so
provide that.
provide that, and then remind me, I'll have to fix it because kung saan yung listahan ng SUC may bundok. Oo. Pero sa protected area, para mabuti. Pero kasi kung saan lang. Oo. Para focused. proceed now. We're only on the first program. Nasa pangalawang programa na po. Hindi, kaya sabi kong mahaba eh. Magpatanghalian naman kayo. Okay. Yeah. No, kasi we'll have a second hearing time. Yeah. I don't know kung matapos lahat yan. Sige. Enhanced biodiversity conservation. Yeah. Paliwanag po nyo. And this is 1.3 billion. Is this BMB?
Yes,
BMB.
BMB.
Who's the head
Ma'am,
now of BMB?
Assistant Director Mariglo is there, Madam Chair.
Morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. This is Mariglo Laririt from the Biodiversity Management Bureau. So at the moment, we have 251 protected areas, and 7 of them are have been newly declared as such, legislated.
Tayo po. How many? Pakilakasan po. How many ang legislated na?
We have a total of 251, Madam Chair, and there are amongst them 121 legislated po.
It's 121 legislated. And the 200, how many did you say po?
251, Madam Chair.
251 minus 121. What's the status of the balance? Still needing compliance, or is it all with us drafted? It's just that we're not doing it.
So out of the balance, 117 po are initial, what we call initial component.
Initial component. Yeah.
And 13 of them have been proclaimed, Madam Chair, but not yet legislated po.
251
Total.
minus 121 legislated, right?
Correct,
So
ma'am.
what's the anong?
13 po proclaimed, Madam Chair, and 117 initial components po.
So the 117 we cannot legislate it yet. Initial component, you're doing the work on the ground.
So they are in various stages of assessments,
Yes.
Madam Chair. And so some are going through protected area suitability assessments.
How long will it take to finish the process so that it can be legislated?
It really depends, Madam Chair, on the context. Some of them have been overtaken by developments, and so on. So how it